TGIF, everyone. What's happening, Captain? Absalom Pianki TV. I'm rocking with the best. Shaw, Wicked, Willie. TGIF, man. So why don't you just come on in, kick back, relax, kick your shoes off. We're going to set the mood off. We want you to take a load off. Yeah, from that long work week. Hope you was getting some sleep. But we need you wide awoke on this one. So get ready for tonight's show. It's about to go down. Before we get things rocking, get this show popping, I'm just gonna let y'all know some up and coming shows we got going on. Wednesday night is a double header. We got music from DJ Music himself, internet radio station, classic R&B jams, man. Broadcasting the shows, the beat, and keep the beat. So I hope you don't got two left feet. You smell it? On the Beat Showtime is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's hosted by DJ Music, once again, along with co-host Shaw, Wicked Willie. Yeah. And also on the Beat Showtime, we'll be discussing what's going on and taking place within the news. We got the segment going on. It's called Keep the Beat, hosted by Shaw Willie and Classic Ruby. They're going to be talking about certain things, telling stories, taking you back down memory lane. Yeah, they ain't playing no games. You definitely gotta check out her chat room too. It be litty. Yeah, the Chizzy be litty off the Rizzy. You smell me? Yeah. I heard they even be twerking in the chat room. It's mad wild. Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. They got the show going on entitled Article Reactions, hosted by none other than Shaw, Willie, and the lovely Classic Ruby. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. They're going to be discussing different articles and news around the world, chopping it up. They also have a special segment called the Ken and Karen segment. Oh my God, it gets wild crazy over there. Check it out. Yeah, last but not least, you know it's APTV, so I gotta keep it clean and I gotta keep it sweet. Also, I gotta keep it street. So we're gonna just say it like this. The likes is free, but the super chat and the cash app is not. You do have the opportunity to financially support the channel in order to help it grow. So in the very least of that manner, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Also, if you would like any advice for yourself, your relative, or maybe even a friend, a lady friend, if that, fellas, send an email to JustAskChar@gmail.com. Once again, that's JustAskChar@gmail.com. And now the moment we've all been waiting for is your host, Shaw Wicked Willie. Could you please tell the people what's the dilly?
Greetings, TGIF everyone. What's going on? What's happening? How are you? What's up? What you doing? You're here. That's what you're doing. And thank you so much for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. You could choose to be anywhere, but you chose to be here and check out the show. And I do appreciate that. Well, what's going on? Let's see. Inflation. Well, yeah, you know about that. Yeah. I tell you, the weather has been very interesting. We have taken a dip. We had gotten used to, like 50-degree weather for a while. And then next thing you know, it dropped back down to the 30s and 40s. I'm like, who did that? We want it back. Stop playing. But, that's Chicago. It's up and down. Plus, it's still early. So you just have to deal with it. What can you say? Um, oh, I'll share this with you. I had got some mail. Well, it wasn't my mail, but there was a package at my door. It was in like an envelope. So I just picked it up, closed the door, opened it, and I reached in and like, condoms, sterilization. I looked at the name. I'm like, oh, this is the wrong unit. Uh-oh. So I put it back. I'm like, oh, behind me any fingerprints on it, but you probably can tell it was open, even though it was adhesive. But you probably could tell it was open, but I didn't open up the man's box. But I was curious because they were different. Whatever type of condoms those were, um, they were extra special. So I probably would Google and just look them up just to be nosy to know what's going on out there. Um, I'm trying to remember how old my neighbor is, and that would give me a direction to go in. That's a shame being nosy about somebody's mail, but hey, I just want to know what's happening. I have questions. I've always had questions. A lot of times I keep them to myself, but now I'm going to ask these questions. And tonight I'll have a lot of questions with the videos that we watch and articles we read and stuff. I do have some questions. We had a great show last week. Thank you so much, the Book of Ronan and Sheep's Day Sleep, aka DS1. Definitely appreciate you guys joining us to discuss mental health. It's very important because only thing I could do and or we could do a lot of times is read about it. That's it. But to experience different things in a man body, we don't know that. Only you guys know. So, hey. Don Teasy, what's going on? No, I didn't see any chews. Mike V, welcome. You're always cutting up, Don Teasy. Vonda H, Vonda H, Vonda H. You got to say it 3 times now. Celine, welcome. Just DeAndre. Sheed. I've never tried your note, Sheed. Thank you so much for that. I always appreciate when I play it. Hey, it keeps the lights on around here. We got StreamYard bills. But it is going to be an interesting night. Do participate if you can. I would definitely appreciate it. And without further ado, let's welcome the wonderful and the lovely and the classic Ruby, everybody. Classic Ruby.
DJ Music, I know you're listening in the clouds. I need you to come out and tell Sean that, you know what, our arrangement extends to
Uh-oh.
everywhere for that
Uh-oh.
1 year. That was paused, but is now back on. Now to keep the beat is back on. K fans, how you doing today, Sean?
I am well. How are you?
Because see, this is the whole thing. If y'all missed Keep the Beat this last Wednesday, and I don't know where you were, you should have been over there on Internet Radio CRBJ. But okay, if you missed it, Shar tried to say some nonsense, right? Shar likes to say nonsense. And here's the thing. Shar thinks it's okay for certain people to sing certain kinds of songs. That's what Shar says.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's true. But what I do know for sure is that she's beautiful, lovely, angelic melody. It's not just for any old somebodies, okay? It's for people who are not tone deaf who can sing. Okay, Shar? Okay? Let's not pretend that that's the same as like a Drake song, okay? It's not. It's not. And you know it's not. You know it's not. Okay, you can't live in denial anymore. We all know it's not the same. She's beautiful melody, and then Shai's coming in here like it's like hey, 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 like Drake. It's not Drake, honey. It's not. Okay, it's not.
You know,
I'm saying.
we have so much fun over there. I mean, you guys, you just don't know. I'm gonna have to play a drop for you because I want to remind you early in the show because that way you can't say, "Huh, what?" No. So let's take a few seconds and get introduced to keep the beat.
Mhm.
Join Char Willie and Classic Ruby for their radio show, Keep the Beat. They broadcast every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CRBJ, Classic R&B Jams. There are discussions of the songs, and that can take you back down memory lane. If you missed the live broadcast, no worries. Replays are uploaded on Mixcloud. So, follow JustAskChar Advice Channel on Mixcloud and you will receive the notification when these broadcasts are uploaded.
That's right. And all the links and every time and everything that's scheduled is in the description. So you don't have to
Mhm.
memorize it. All right? Cool beans.
Mhm. Mhm. Just add a little amendment in there. Shaw promised to stop singing and to stop playing Terrence Howard to sing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did, but there was a time period when it came down to the singing now, because I was supposed to be practicing.
Yes. Yes. See, but after the show, we came up with an arrangement, right? So mastery, right? It takes 10,000 hours, and Shar said, okay, so that should take her. I think she said what, 5 years was it? 4 or 5 years?
4 years.
She said.
4 years, yes. Four.
Right. Of you practicing in private. And we all agreed what private was, which was not very publicly on a live stream where poor Ruby is there. That was not private. We did not agree that that was private, Shar. So I'm just saying, it's not 5 years from, Wednesday, first of all. And second of all, this was not private. That's all I'm saying.
Oh boy, you just make it hard for me. I don't know, but I'm going to be working on it, and I'm going to introduce a little here and there on the channel, and I'm going to see what the feedback is. And if, no one throws tomatoes, then, I may have to come out in 2023 and, drop a little tune, just a little bit something. We'll see.
You just let me know that day so I can call him sick. That's all I'm saying. Hmm.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hmm.
Well, let's go ahead and get this show started. I got a video, and then I have two videos, and then a couple of articles to read for some details. So, um,
Ooh. Okay.
yeah, so I hope to get some feedback from I'm seeing a couple of extra guys in here, so hopefully someone would like to participate. So here goes with the dating part of it, and there we go.
We can't see your face, baby. Are you driving a car?
No, I'm not driving. I'm sitting waiting on somebody.
Can you give me more light and turn down the music you have? That's the most light you got?
Yep, you can't see me?
It's kind of dark. Um, it's kind of dark. What's your name?
My name Dushan
Dushan. Where you calling me from?
from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Dushan. How old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Do you have any kids?
Yep, I got 8 kids.
Dushan, you really have 8 children.
Yeah, I got 8 children. Yep.
You're 32. How old are your 8 kids?
I got one 11-year-old, 14-year-olds.
14-year-old plural? You have more than one 14-year-old?
Yeah, I have 4 10-year-olds.
You have four. You have hold on. Are you
4
being
different children. That's
wait,
10.
hold
Yes.
on. Hold on. Are you're being serious right now?
You
Right?
gonna
I'm
do
just
me like that?
huh?
I mean, yeah, I'm telling you this. I mean, it ain't no made up story. I'm telling you what it is.
Okay. How many 10-year-olds do you have?
I have 4.
4 10-year-olds. Okay.
And I have a 9-year-old. And I have a son that's 4. And I have a son that's 1.
How many women, Deshaun?
I got 6 different baby mamas.
6 baby mamas. So the 4
damn.
10-year-olds means you have 4 women pregnant at the same time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, not exactly at the same time, but yeah, they're around the same months and stuff. Yep.
They were all born in the same year.
Yep.
So, Deshaun, have you ever heard of a condom?
Yeah, I have.
Are you allergic to the word?
It ain't that I'm allergic to it. It's a different feeling.
It's a different feeling. Do you have an STD?
No. No.
Well, anyone has a different of opinion?
He's
It's
an
a different.
idiot.
It's a different feeling. I mean, but he's telling the truth. I'm just,
Char. You
yes.
know what else is a different feeling? Getting your paycheck and then seeing 95% of it automatically disappear into some type of child support payment because you refuse to wear a condom because it's a different feeling. And you clearly are a very fertile man who likes to sleep with women when they are in a very fertile week. And apparently you don't miss. You don't miss so much that you got 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different women pregnant in the same 9-month period. Are you out of your ever loving mind? And you kept going and you hold Char 8.
But hey, it's 4 different seasons, so I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. And
I like to know how it works. I mean, um, I can guess that he spends a little bit more time away and meets somebody else. I don't know. I don't know why he's doing this, but you hear about this all the time. But he's going to give you, I think, a little information. I think.
he's so self-righteous with it. That's what I think was surprised me from the beginning. Like, yeah, I got 8. What? Why? Were you gonna give me attitude about it? Like, yeah, we gonna give you attitude about it. Why the hell do you have 8 children? What the hell's wrong with you? Yes. She's surprised. You had the nerve to say you have 4 10-year-olds because she knew it wasn't you have quadruplets because you would have said that. You said 4 10-year-olds because you knew they're by 4 different people. That's a problem, right? Like, and he was acting like it wasn't. Like, how dare you look at him like it's a problem? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, he says kind of common where he's from. Welcome, Vonda.
Hey,
oh, hey, go
Sean.
ahead.
Hey, Ruby. Yeah, he really stopped me in my tracks when first off, the 8 children. And then the 4 10-year-olds. I got 4 that are 10. Yeah, 4 10-year-olds. Like you said, he didn't say quads. I have 4 10-year-olds.
Yep.
So that's 4 different moms. So
Yeah.
he was banging it out the year that those children were conceived. He was dipping between 4 different women, or was in close proximity of 4 different women's vaginas. And he didn't use any type of protection, and he got each one of those women pregnant. That is very irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely going to be very costly. I'll play a little bit more. Yeah.
Sadly, not for him though, Shai. Here's the problem, and this is what these women, even who just keep getting pregnant, even by a future, don't realize, right? Is that the
Mhm.
more children that he has, the less money he has to give you. Even if he's
True.
making $100K a year, right? Like, there's only the percentage that each kid gets, because they're going to make it even across the board, is going to go significantly down. So maybe he could have given you $200, a month, which is still not a lot to raise a kid, but fine. But then you go with one of these guys who already has 7 kids and you're number 8. Well, each one of the kids is now only getting like $20, right? Because that's all he can afford. Like, what do you want from him?
Yeah, not much at all, but or even time. But
Oh yeah.
I don't think it doesn't seem to phase them, at least not yet. Yeah.
Sure, we just talked about this on Wednesday with Future. Right, going to you know who for advice on you know what, and the worst day of his year being not Christmas because you can't see all the kids and you can't buy them all presents. Well, he didn't care about that. It's just about all the different 304s he's got, trying to cater to all the 304s, and they all want his time and expensive gifts, and like guys like this aren't thinking about the devastating impacts they're having on these, children that they have to basically be missing for no matter what, no matter how much they love them. There's only so much time you have in a day or in a week, and you got 8 different kids in 6 different houses. So you see them once a week at max. That's it. And that's all you could do. You couldn't do more than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's a lot. It's a lot.
A lot of phone numbers too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, that's true.
Not at all.
Okay, so a couple questions before we go forward. The 1-year-old, why you not with her? That mom.
It just didn't work out after I had got shot 2 years ago. It's
Oh,
just,
Jesus.
I mean, her taking care of our child and me, it just didn't work out. So, yeah.
Well, I didn't know you got shot. I'm happy you're still here with us.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you changed? Why did you get shot?
I was at some little concert and I had got shot 3 times.
Was it intentional or accidental?
Accidental.
Accidental. Okay. Deshaun.
It's Dushan.
I'm sorry, Dushawn. I apologize.
Yeah.
Dushawn. This is Dushawn. What do you do for a living?
Oh God.
I cut hair.
Is that all you do for a living?
Yeah, I cut hair.
Oh, please.
That means he does nothing.
When's your birthday, Dushawn?
Yep.
February 11th.
That's an Aquarius.
Oh my God.
Yep, that is.
Yo.
He said he cut hair. I'm just saying the man has a job.
Char, for someone who has 8 children and someone asks you what do you do for a living,
Mm-hmm.
and the pause was very, very telling, and
Yes, I
which tells
agree.
me he probably cut maybe his little brother's hair, his homeboy's hair, and maybe an uncle's hair. He does not do it for a living. Because you don't think about it. Do each of you not know what you do for a living? Like, if I asked you what you do for a living, you're not going to be like, I
cut hair.
Mm-hmm.
I do nails. It's
right.
like, come on. He doesn't sound like he's in a good position. Who is he looking to date? Who's he trying to date in this position?
I think he might sell drugs. Just keeping it a buck, because I'm like, that pause was just so shifty, because it's like, if you're used to you literally sit on your butt and do nothing, you gotta lie, you tell everybody. So it normally comes to mind pretty quick, but he had to think of something, which means it's something that his regular answer he won't say on this show. So I think maybe he might do a little nickel and dime selling, on corners, just to get himself, his shoes.
Still
and
do that? Is
whatever.
that still even a lucrative business? Who's on the corner?
Normally 14-year-olds, but don't count this guy out just yet, just because he's standing on the corners with the 14-year-olds. Come on now, it's income.
Okay, you say you got to eat too.
Well, he's got 4 10-year-olds that are going to be 14-year-olds in about 12 years. All at one time. Oh my God.
Well, all I can say is this. I know and I dated for a very long time an Aquarius who was born on February 11th. So I already know what kind of nightmare this dude is. I already know because they're born on the same day. Maybe not the same year, but they're born on the same day. And I'm telling you, that's a different kind of Aquarius. There's a difference between the February 11th Aquarius and the end of January Aquarius. I'm just telling you, just keeping it a buck. This is the kind of Aquarius that makes horrible decisions. But then he lives in his own fantasy land of how he wants things to be, how things should be, what he's entitled to. And he doesn't care what he has to do to lie, cheat, and steal to kind of fulfill that fantasy and to make things a little softer and easier on him because there's like an entitlement issue or something. I don't know. But I swear to God, this is the third person now I've heard who's born on this date. And honestly, they move very similarly so far, all three of them. So I'm officially biased against this dude. If I wasn't already biased by all the information he gave us, he told me when his birthday is, and I went, "Oh my God!" I was actually freaked out. I was like, "Oh my God!"
I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so Dushan, I'm gonna begin with the kid question. Do you want more kids?
No, not at all.
You don't want any more
great.
kids. Do you think that okay, so you have 8 kids, 6 different women. Were you ever settled down with any of these women?
I was at a point in time, and it just didn't work out.
So with all the women you have children with, you couldn't work out any long-term relationships with them?
No, I tried as best as I could. I mean, it just didn't work out. It is what it is.
So now you want to meet a new woman?
I mean, I don't necessarily want to meet a new woman, but if it come about, you know what I'm saying, I get the vibing with a different type of person then, and life take us on to a different, you know what I'm saying, a different stage, then I'm willing to go with the flow. But
So
other than that, I ain't just out looking for nothing.
got you. I know you mentioned that you were shot in the past. Are you all well? Is there any
Yeah,
you're all well now?
I mean, I'm not all the way. I still go to physical therapy, but I mean, I'm straight. I'm back up walking.
Okay.
Oh,
Dushan,
God.
what kind of woman are you looking for?
Like I said, I ain't really looking for no type of woman. It's just if we vibe and I like the chemistry, it
I
is what it is.
dating show. So these are the questions I ask every guest. So what are the qualities you desire in a woman if you were to consider dating her?
I mean, I just want somebody that be there, you know what I'm saying, that's loyal and that's gonna be there for me. You know what I'm saying? To just be honest with me. Not
Okay.
hold anything back.
What about deal breakers?
Deal breakers as far as what?
Something you will not date. That is absolutely no, you're not going to date this type of woman, or that a quality she might have, an attribute.
I mean, it ain't no deal breakers. I
So
don't look at a person for, you know what I'm saying, outside. I look what's inside, you know what I'm saying, the heart. So it all depends on what your heart, you know what I'm saying, desires. So I can't just judge a person off what they look like. So if the chemistry straight, we vibe and shit, it might go there.
Okay. You have 8 children. Are you on child support?
Yeah.
So you're on child support for all 8?
Yep.
So does that help hurt your income when it comes to dating a new woman? Because that's a lot. 8 children.
I mean, that's not necessarily. I make ends meet.
So you must cut a lot of people's hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It take that.
And take that. What's the age range you want to date? You're 32.
Maybe 26 and up.
26 and up. You said the woman can't have kids because you don't want any more, correct?
Right.
Does she have to be in Michigan, Grand Rapids?
No, she can be wherever.
Does she got to make a certain
wherever?
Can be wherever. Does she got to make a certain amount of money?
No. I'm gonna make sure ends meet whatever it do.
Wherever it do. Does she have to look a certain way?
No, I don't go off looks.
She doesn't go off of looks. When was your last relationship?
2 years ago.
You don't got to answer this question, but I'm going to ask. When was the last time you had sex with a woman?
Probably like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Why can't you be with that woman?
I mean, it was just a one night stand.
A one night stand. This is Dushan, right?
Yeah.
Dushan, we always talk about therapy on the show at times. Have you ever considered going to a therapist and just talking to a person about some of the things you've gone through in your life?
I have before.
Okay. You stopped?
Yeah.
Do you think it was beneficial to you?
I mean, it was decent. I mean, I had learned a lot of different techniques, but it's nothing that I didn't know.
What did you learn from therapy?
I mean, about just dealing with anger just differently.
Keep that in mind. That's what we're going to discuss, that part.
I hear anger management.
Okay. Dealing with anger differently. Dushan, why would a woman be lucky to be with you?
I wouldn't necessarily say she was lucky, but I don't know.
Oh God.
What makes you special than all other men?
I don't know. That's something like she would have to answer, wouldn't it? What
No,
makes you
because
special?
you love more than anybody else.
I know, but if it from different, like if it's like different women, they have different aspects of me. So like I don't know. I don't know what makes me special. It all depends on what type of woman it is.
Okay, why do you think you're currently single?
Because I choose to be.
You choose to be. Okay. All right. Well, this is Dushan, who'll date 26 and up. I think, I mean, you have a lot of kids. So it has to be a woman that's willing to share you with 6 different women that have 8 of your children. And your oldest child is 11.
Right.
So
I don't need nobody to support them. I just, you know what I'm saying?
well,
If,
the thing with children, both accords, whoever new comes into your life, they have to be willing to know that they have to share you with your children for one. They also have to wonder if the baby mama or the baby daddy is crazy or cool. And you have 6 baby mamas and you have 8 children and the oldest is 11. You have young kids. So at any given moment, you can have a different child sick every single day of the week, and that woman would have to be okay to know that, all right, I can't have him this week because he has to be a dad. So those are some of the conversations that I think women think of. On the opposite, men think of, if I'm going to align myself with this woman, do I want to take care of her children? So those are the things that you have to kind of answer before you go into a relationship with a person that has children. That's what I've learned from this show.
right.
But I appreciate you coming on, Dushan. I'm happy that I want to see you go on the right path. I have to admit, I think you have a lot of children, so that would be a red flag, but you never know. There might be a woman who doesn't mind. She might also got 8 kids too, and y'all can have 16 kids together and rock it out. Would you date a woman that had 8 kids?
You say what?
Would you date a woman that had 8 kids?
I don't care how many kids she got.
You don't care how many kids you got?
She got the right personality. It is what it is. I mean, I don't judge nobody of what they did or they past or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the circumstance is. That's the problem nowadays. People judge people of what they got or who they is or what their name is. Like, I mean, do what you feel. You know what I'm saying?
Please.
Be yourself. So that's just how I feel about any situation.
Come on.
Okay, that's real talk right there. So all my
No, it's
women,
not.
if you got multiple children, this might be the man for you because he don't give a damn.
Here's a whole damn lie. Come on now. Sean, the man said he got shot 3 times accidentally.
Well, it was in one particular place that he got shot these 3 times.
Right, accidentally. You know what? You can say you got shot accidentally once. They pulled the gun out and it went off accidentally. A gun doesn't get aimed your way and trigger pulled 3 times accidentally. That's not an accident. Where's the accident in that?
Right. And for all we know, he just had a one night stand 3 weeks ago. He could be percolating, cooking on baby number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Multiple.
he's already made it very clear that he doesn't like to use, prophylactic, because it don't feel the same.
Yes.
And of course, he doesn't care how many kids she has. He ain't gonna take care of her kids. He has to take care of his own kids. Come on now. I mean, everything he says like, I don't need someone to take care of my kids because you don't take care of your kids. So yeah, it's not really a big factor for you, and you don't care about how many kids she has because you have no intentions of taking care of anybody's kids, yours or anyone else's. You just live. That's it. Maybe you might babysit. You know.
And he's not very much on planning. He doesn't do anything that plans. Everything is, well, I don't know. It all depends, and I'll just go where the wind takes me. Yeah, if that's what she want to do, I don't care how many kids she got. If it work out, I'm gonna let it do what it do. The ends are gonna meet. I'm like, what? What the
Like you said, he's not planning because he doesn't see no future. Like he's not looking for a woman for a wife, right?
Right.
Whatever's
That would give
fun.
me anxiety to be with a man whose his whole future and his whole outlook was so open ended. That would be anxiety. I'm like, oh, we can't have anything together. I can't be with somebody like that.
Right. But I gotta say, to be fair, and this is part of the issue, right? So maybe the first 5 women, you can't blame them, right? Because the oldest one's 11, and he's got 4 of them that are the same age.
Yeah, they were all the same age, so they probably didn't even really know about the other ones.
Exactly, right? And it's like you got one previous kid. That's not that bad, It's like, yeah, didn't work out fine, but then then he gets 5. So by the time woman or number 6 meets him, right, he's got 5 kids. 4 of them are the exact same age, and he's all wishy-washy like this with his accidental shooting and his no plans for the future, which means obviously he doesn't see himself marrying you,
and
providing any type of
mismanagement
stability
of his penis and the sperm.
Right.
No management skills at all.
Nothing, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care he doesn't care what the outcome is. So that's no stability for you. That's no protection for you. That's no provision for you as a woman. And despite that, 3 more women laid down and had 3 more kids with him. Are you out of your ever loving mind? Come on now. Come on. Like there is something wrong. There is occasionally women make terrible choices. And so when men refer to like the last 3 women in this scenario, you're right. Whoever chose to have kids with him after the first 5, and we know he just said it. It's not like he hid it. He doesn't seem like the type who hides anything. He'll just tell you, yeah, it is what it is, Cause I just don't like condoms though. So yeah, that's what happened. And he'll just proudly say it and tell you that he, stands on the block and on the corner and, runs dimes and nickels and whatnot, right? And I'm sure he owns it all. And yet despite that, some women thought, oh, he's a good catch. I know what I'll do. I'll let him hit it raw and I won't be on the pill. And it's going to be great. Like, what? What are you thinking?
It sounds so dangerous. Hit it raw. I'm like, that just sounds like, oh my God, that could kill me. Hitting it raw. Don't hit it raw. That's deadly.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know about all of that if they're thinking like, oh, wow, let's do it. But whichever way, I don't know if these women are women he come in contact with because he not offer, but he has the supply that they need and he come across the women that way. Because I'm just not seeing how, not to say a normal, but a woman that works, I'll just put it that way, that has responsibilities, with just, hey, how you doing, Deshaun? Okay, what's up? Let's go out. And you talk and you don't pick up on nothing, whether it's text, talking on the phone, then you get face to face and talk. You don't pick up on anything that's something, you don't see any future there. I mean, come on. And you can't tell me all these women just wanted sex. So I'm thinking these are people that he serviced with his product in the street.
Yep.
And
That's what I'm thinking.
They didn't have the $20, so they gave him some uterus.
Hey, could be. How old is Deshaun? 28?
32. Didn't
Oh,
he
he's
say
32 now? I'm thinking,
I don't even know.
I'm thinking of I've watched some videos. I was getting some content for next week, so it might be this guy on the screen that I'm thinking is 32, but um, whatever age he is, he's a young guy. So maybe the testosterone is popping, and hey, what you doing, girl? What you doing? And he can, get his needs met. I guess I don't know, but I'm wondering where he lives. That's what I wonder. Where does he live? Because he said that he tried to work it out. Even though he said all of them, he tried to work it out. But this last one, he said it was too hard for her to take care of me and the new child. So that tells me they were living together in a household, whether he was living with her or whatever, with his newborn and his gunshot wounds.
But like, think about what he just said there. Like, you a whole grown ass person now. Listen, I am queen of being a kept woman, right? I really like it. I'm very lazy. Fine, right? But you have a newborn, right? And then as a person who's the father of that newborn, right? Even though you got shot, like you gotta suck it up. Like my friend, we're not friends anymore, but when we were friends, she was like 10 days overdue. They tried to induce her labor. She still wouldn't go into labor. She was devastated, but she had to have a C-section. She didn't really want one, but fine, she has a C-section. They have to really rip this giant baby out of her. He's over 10 pounds, and he was wedged in. Yeah, and she's really short. She's like 5 feet tall. So this 10-pounder was just stuck in there good. Anyway, point is, this was right before Christmas. And so December 22nd. And so the doctors, a lot of people were on vacation, technically. It was just a B string of staff. And I'm telling you, I was there. Everything was fine. When I left, I got her husband from work. I brought him. And when we came back from the stapled line on her belly down, it was bright red. And above, it was not. And I went, that's not good. And so called the nurse. Thank you. Right. I called the nurse. The nurse goes, oh, it's probably an allergy to the dishwashing detergent they use on the baby blankets. I'm like, well, that's interesting because she's holding the baby in her arm and against her chest. So why isn't the redness on her arm and her chest? Why is it only below her incision where the blankets aren't touching? Right. Call me crazy. This is a stupid answer. And then basically I actually spiked a fever the next day and I wasn't able to get in there for days. By the time a doctor got in, like it was seeping, all kinds of craziness, okay? By the time a doctor got in there, she had a staph infection at the size of a football. She had to go for emergency surgery. She had a giant, huge, size of a football wound in her stomach that had to be packed with gauze. And the gauze had to be changed out several times a day. And she had to be on an IV at her house by the time she finally got home, still for months and months and months, while a nurse came and visited her house 3 times a day to restuff that with gauze. Okay, that's a lot. It's painful. It's horrible. You know what she had to do too? Is still take care of her baby, right? Still try to be there for her husband. That's what you do. You just suck it up because the baby comes first because it's your newborn and you don't get to be the priority right now. The baby's the priority. That's what it is. Like, it's like he missed that memo. You're a father, honey. A father. Like, why don't you care about your kids at all? She wasn't taking care of me. She was supposed to be my mama, and she was too busy being a mama to my son. Like, what? No, that's not how that works. Why doesn't he know that?
I guess he said he needed some attention too, but I hear what you're saying, but I also heard what he's saying, and he said, I needed her to take care of me. I tried to make it work. How? How are you doing that?
And that's where it's too much. You know, at some point it broke the relationship down because that woman was doing everything. And she's like, you know what? I can't do it. I cannot take care of a whole grown ass man by myself and this baby. You don't know if this woman had a cesarean. You don't know what the nature of the birth was. Right. You don't know if she had other children. Right. And then she got this fool laid up in here. You don't know if they were staying with her parents. We don't know what it could have been. Very stressful. Obviously, it was like, look, and he basically was like, she couldn't handle taking care of both of us.
Yep.
He was, and it's like, and I don't fault her for that. She's just a mother. She's a regular woman. She's not superwoman. And I think that would be hard on anybody. I think that would be hard on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of the kid, any other children that I may have, and take care of you. And I know you're not working, but I'm going to put up the air quotes, you're making ends meet. So that's another stressor. It's like, no, I can't do this. Where's your mom at? Or you got a brother or somebody that can help? Or maybe I can't do this by myself. I just can't.
And that's what I was going to mention too. Where is his other support system, his family? Because, yeah, she may not be able to take care of you, but you have no family to help you along the way because you've been injured. Nothing. I can't ask that question to him, but I would have asked him. But the way she has her show set up, I would leave it like that. Every now and again, I may ask a question, but to keep the show comfortable with people to call in, I would keep her questions just like they are. So,
Right.
yeah, you have to.
True. Still. If someone knows that guy's number or email or something, you just let him know that Shar show's over here. We give advice. So you want to just roll through? Answer some questions. Get some advice.
Dushan needs some serious help. Dushan needs help learning how to do and not just do when it comes to creating a kid. He's got that down pat. He's an expert at baby making. Now Dushan needs to do something in the area with regards to money. Just make sure he's got that income coming in, because apparently the kids are being cared for. They're being taken care of. He didn't necessarily say by him. He said the woman don't have to take care of his other children. They're cared for, apparently.
Mm. When I had paused it, and I asked you guys to keep that in mind, when Deshaun said he had gone to therapy and he learned a few techniques, but pretty much he knew everything. And it was techniques for anger.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's for that, we have to take into account that that's the only thing he mentioned, that was an issue for him, anger.
Right.
I can understand that from what I've read and see, but not being a man, that men, have a lot of anger. They have a lot of things they have to deal with, the environment, all these things. So, one of the questions that I've been asking, because of the news stories and things we've been seeing, is people or men not only ridding themselves, but ridding the family. And that's just horrific. So I have a story here. And when I first saw this, I said, is that Cyber Lion? I sure thought that's who this guy was from be over there on Bomb Cherry panel. I'm like, oh, that's not him. But it's interesting, all the details to this, because I had to dig a little bit, because I always want to know why. I don't agree with that or anything, but I still always want to know why people do what they do. So I'm going to play what the news have, and then we'll discuss it, and we'll also talk about some of the things that I found, and I'll read those to you. So here is the news story.
Okay.
Suspect in court for a disturbing crime. He's charged with shooting and killing his ex-girlfriend and her unborn child. Eyewitness News reporter Joe Holden is in King of Prussia right now, where some disturbing video was played in court today. Joe.
Natasha, that video was hard to watch. It shows a man prosecutors say was Rafiq Thompson opening fire on a woman seemingly unprovoked. That video and testimony from a county detective and a judge decided there was enough evidence to hold this case for trial. This is our first look at Rafik Thompson. The North Philadelphia man, Montgomery County prosecutors say shot and killed Tamara Cornelius and her unborn child at a King of Prussia gas station.
Mr. Thompson, you want to talk about what happened that night to Miss Cornelius? Did you mean to shoot and kill her?
Thompson had nothing to say when asked about the deadly crime earlier this month. It was Friday, April 8th. Police say Thompson and Cornelius were at the King of Prussia Mall that evening. Cornelius left, eventually pulling into this gas station along North Gulf Road. District Attorney Kevin Steele says Cornelius had been followed.
He followed her with his lights out, and then he pulls up in the gas station, as we showed on the video, and fires multiple times, killing her.
Cornelius was hit 4 times, according to testimony from a county detective, with wounds to the legs and back. Video played in court showed Thompson raising a 9mm pistol, repeatedly firing and striking Cornelius. Wounded and now on the ground, she is seen trying to get away, hiding behind gas pumps. She was pronounced dead at Paoli Hospital. Prosecutors spent a couple of days searching for Rafik Thompson along with police. He spent 48 hours on the run before surrendering. We did attempt to ask his defense attorney for comment. He declined, only to say, though, that it was early on in the process.
Yeah, it's always early on. Let's bring him back up here so people can see him. Okay. The key word was ex-girlfriend. Not current. Ex. Mean no more. No more lovey-dovey. No more nothing. And the question is, why? Just why? You know, it's over. It's okay that it didn't work out. You go north and I'm going to go south.
Right. What is the point of ending, just ending her life like that? I mean, unless it's one of those situations where she broke it off and he still wanted to be with her. And 9 times out of 10, that's usually what it is. Ain't no dude, really trying to come after a woman that, he didn't want and didn't want him, unless there's some sort of, oh, well, you can't have the baby. Oh, I'm going to have this baby anyway, which a lot of times that's what it is. But I don't understand where there's been so much of this, leading cause of death for Black women is homicide, being killed, murdered, typically by the father of the child. It's like, I mean, is that your only option? They can't think of anything else. And it's always a very heinous murder, shooting her in the head or stabbing her or running her over with a car. And she's, carrying a child. It's like, I don't care. Just get rid of both of them. End both of them.
And the question I ask is, why do you run? Because you're doing what you want to do. Think about what Will Smith did. He wanted to do that. He didn't run. He went and sat down. Right or wrong, he did what he wanted to do. Why are these people running? Don't run. You wanted to do that. You follow this woman. You wanted to do that. But
I have a question, because I just wasn't 100% clear on this. So she was pregnant. Was she pregnant with his baby or someone else's baby?
Someone else's, but yeah.
Well, because it makes a difference to my answer, right? Because
that's true.
If she was pregnant with his baby, well, then, it goes in this long string of escalating behaviors you're seeing by men these days, because they are being conditioned by social media and the media in general, telling them that basically if the relationship with her doesn't work out, she's going to use that kid to ruin your life, basically, right? And it's just like this foregone conclusion that she is going to get some outrageous amount of child support that's going to bankrupt you and keep you homeless and this and that, even though that like almost never happens, and that, the actual payouts to child support show you how small the actual payments tend to be, but fine. But then the other side is, okay, well, if it's not his baby, then again, like I said, well, you're not together and she's having a baby with someone else. Y'all are done. Why would you do this? Well, it's that if I can't have you, no one can kind of thing. It's the betrayal, this that sense of betrayal and that sense of ownership. And this
Entitlement,
happens
yeah.
normally in
Yeah.
abusive relationships, right? Where uh you at least mildly emotionally, mentally, if not physically abusive, because I've actually been in this exact scenario where he literally, even though I was allowed to break up with him, but I wasn't allowed to move on. He owns me, and therefore he better not see me dating someone else. And God forbid I were to get pregnant with someone else's baby or to try to marry someone else or blah, blah, blah. It's a sense of ownership. You don't get to be happy unless it's with me. So if you try to do that, if I can't have you, no one can. And it's scary, but it happens.
Well, yeah, we're hearing that. Let me read this part of the article that I did some digging. It says Thompson texts Cornelius 93 times
Oh God.
and called her 21 times during a 3-day span, but did not respond to any of them, investigators said. At 5:55 p.m. last Friday, Thompson allegedly texted Cornelius to invite her out to dinner. She responded via several phone calls, investigators said. They met outside of the Cheesecake Factory at 9:10 p.m. The waiter who served Thompson and Cornelius said to the investigators that they were having a contentious conversation and that Thomas had left by the time their food arrived. Video footage shows Thompson leaving the mall alone at 9:45 p.m. Cornelius asked the waiter to box the food for takeout. She paid the bill and left by herself at 10:15 p.m. Thompson then followed her from the mall's parking lot to the Exxon gas station, investigators said. Cornelius pulled up to the pump and Thompson parked directly behind the vehicle with his headlights turned off, according to the video footage and eyewitnesses' account. She began to pump the gas. He got out his car, approached her. And let's scroll down some more, and you know the rest. Pulled a gun out, moments later shooting her. As she tried to flee, Thompson followed behind, kept shooting her. So that was talked about in the video. She's trying to get behind the pumps, and he's, still continue to fire. So
Oh my
he did
God.
not want her alive. Um, then let me see. I got another part of the article where one of the family members says that she was a mother of 3.
Oh gosh.
She only dated the guy for a few months last year. She was expecting a baby with her new boyfriend, and they had recently bought a home together. Wow. I say once it's over, it's
It's
over.
over, right? I agree, Shar.
It is
I
over. I don't care. Because, see, with as women, our emotions, we get over it. Because think about it, if we didn't, the world would be a lot different if we didn't get over it. So, he didn't, let's see, he didn't pick you up. He was supposed to pick you up and it was raining and you had to take the bus home. You mad at him and you don't answer his calls. Well, after a while, maybe a month or so, you'll answer the calls. But there are situations where things are unforgivable or you just don't want to deal with that person anymore because so many little things add up to big things.
right.
And once it's over, let it be over. Do not, I don't care how the texts and phone calls come in. No. I've had, and you be quiet, done teasing. I've had guys to um, say, well, let's go out one more last time. Let's get together one last time. And I'm like, the last time was
Was the last
the last
time.
time.
Yep, it's a no.
Who knows what these guys will be interested in? Because I don't, really quiet, but I didn't have much to say. I make up my mind, and once I get in my house, that's it. You ain't gonna see me no more. So I don't have much to discuss. So unfortunately, after all these phone these texts and phone call, it was just no reason to meet with him.
To
I don't
meet.
care what he had to say. Whatever you got
I
to say,
agree.
text it.
I agree. And the fact that she had already started another relationship and she's clearly moved on with a new baby and everything. Um, and we broke up the prior year. What, talk about what?
Right.
There's absolutely nothing for us to talk about. And you know what? At this point, I'm not going to even tell you that. I'm just not going to acknowledge you. My number is going to be changed or I'm going to block you. I mean, nowadays you can block people. You couldn't block a landline back in the day. You
Right.
had to change your phone number. Just block it and be done. And I mean, if he wants to get you, he's going to get you. But there's nothing to talk about. We're done. And I would think that the man that I'm seeing would not be too keen on me seeing, my ex-boyfriend, especially if we're not discussing a child that we have in common, which
Right.
apparently they didn't have any children. It didn't sound like they have any children in common.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no need for her to see him. I mean, for whatever reason, we don't know what it was, but once we're over and we're done and I've moved on, and talk about what? The fact that he texted her 93 times in that short span of time, that would be very alarming to me. I'd be looking for a restraining order. That's restraining order territory.
Yep. And so the thing is, on average, right? I mean, sure, it happens very occasionally. It comes out of the blue. But on average, normally people who end up murdering either a spouse or an ex, right, showed these tendencies ahead of time, right? The controlling behavior, abusive behavior, narcissistic traits, very mean-spirited type traits where they want to punish you and be petty and hurt you and they feel, like again, that whole control and ownership thing. You see these traits in advance. And, you left the relationship and, I think what ends up happening with some of these women is because these guys, they try all the other tactics first, right? And then they go, oh, I'm going to be sweet and I'm going to pretend I've changed and da-da-da-da-da, and lull her into a false sense of security so she will meet with me. But, underneath that surface, they're still bubbling with that same rage that makes them want to punish you or damage you for leaving them, for being able to be happy without them, for not taking their threats seriously, so on and so forth, right? And it's like, it's the reason why it's so insidious and dangerous for people who've been in abusive relationships when they leave. Leaving, crazy enough, that leaving point or the point where they think you're going to leave, even if you're not, is the most dangerous time because at that point it sets this type of unstable mentality into, it's almost like they have no choice. If they don't escalate and kill you, then that's it. Like they've lost, then they can't lose at that point. That's what it is, and they don't care. They'll throw away everything. You threw away everything. Like for what? For what? This relationship done been over. What did you throw everything away for?
Yeah, and I'd always be curious about the background because if you recall, there used to be talk about the background. Oh, these guys, they don't have nothing, this and that and other. But we're not finding that a lot of times. These guys hold some very good positions, you know. Some of them have a previous family. They might have been married at one time and have older children. It's just so many different walks of life. But it just still, I just still have the questions of what's going on. Who can you talk to? And I had a conversation with a friend, and it's kind of funny. The friend mentioned that something that I always was leery about when a man doesn't have another male friend or male friends. I tend to stay away from those type of people. I just really do. It's just not safe. I have not seen it to be safe, so I kind of stay away. If you only hang around girl or women, we're adults now, women, and that's all you got. You don't have any male friends. I don't know. Something just not right there. And that's just my opinion and experience.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same thing as a woman who, it's one thing to be like, listen, I don't have that many female friends because it's that. And the next thing you say you have zero as a woman, right? Like that's not normal. And then it's really because generally you should have at least one or two, right? The fact that you can't get along with your own gender at all normally is an indication that basically you're a creep. Like, okay, I'll to put this another way, right? And I'm sure women or men, you've noticed this. Men, y'all talk about it all the time. How come she can't see that he was no count? Well, y'all can see other men differently than the way women can see men, right? And likewise,
Yes.
women see women differently, right? And so we can see through the facade when it's your own gender. So if guys refuse to put up with this guy, refuse to be friends with him, don't want nothing to do with him, don't want you to have anything to do with him, and he doesn't even have a couple guys that are willing to be like, yeah, that's my boy and whatever. It's because they see something in him, in his demeanor, in his behavior, and whatever that makes them very uncomfortable or disgusted, and they don't want any part of it. And that's not safe for you. And because you can't see it as a woman, all you got to do sometimes you got to take social cues from other people. Right? And if all the men who've ever met him say nope, you should maybe listen. Just saying. Maybe. Just maybe.
Yeah. A lot of people are proud of that. I don't have no female friends. Oh, oh,
You know
okay.
what? And yeah, there's a problem when people are not able to at least have someone that they can talk to, at least someone they can turn to. There's nothing wrong with being a loner. I'm a loner much of the time, but I get along very well with people, and I do have my close friendships. I don't have like 20 best friends. I have one really good friend that we've been friends since elementary. That was eons ago, so we're still friends since elementary. And I have other acquaintances and other friends, but I don't have 20 best friends. It's just not possible to be a best friend to 20 people. In that sense. But when things are going, some type of way in my life, it's nice to be able to talk to someone and kind of vent and let your things out. If you're a man and you don't have any close male, bonding relationships where you can exchange information or get advice, an uncle, a brother, a homeboy, and your only friend is her. Red flag. Red flag.
Absolutely. I've always found it worrisome. It's difficult to be in a relationship with a guy and you see this all the time in this space where it's like there's this misunderstanding between gossiping and doing too much with basically violating your relationship by telling everyone unnecessary private details constantly, da 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 da, and seeking outside counsel and advice from a trusted one or a few, right, when you need it. And there is a difference between those two things, and it's like you're not supposed to be able to just magically intuit how to solve every problem you've never encountered and to always just see things perfectly. And no, that's why we're herd animals. We are social animals. We are meant to socialize and to learn through social transmission by other people teaching us and modeling for us and whatever. So it's like, you don't want to be completely shrouded in silence and you have no one that you can turn to. And if that's what someone's doing, then that means they can only rely on themselves and maybe their very limited amount of wisdom and knowledge in an area to solve a problem. And that means they also only have their own opinion to try to figure out who's right or wrong or where the compromise should be made or so on and so forth. So since nobody's perfect and nobody has perfect sight, perfect wisdom, perfect intelligence, perfect social, emotional intelligence, like, it's loners have other loner friends, right? It's just like again, not huge, large groups of them, like, maybe one or two, or maybe they're really close to a couple people in their family or something. But you need that. Like, we're not islands,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that look on his face. I mean, he looks rather calm. I mean, it's like he just sat up there and murdered a pregnant woman. I mean, just shot her unmercifully, with no mercy whatsoever. I mean, she's trying to get away from the bullets, and he's like, no, you need more, just wherever he could shoot her, in the legs, in the back. It's like, that's just, I don't know. That's just, it's like there was no other alternative. You didn't have any other choice, because you have to think about it. It's so intentional. Yeah, let's have dinner.
Right.
Okay. And then, so he's like, okay, I'm going to ask her to come back to me. She doesn't come back to me. All right, I got the gun in the car. It's like this is premeditated. If it didn't go his way, he was going to kill her. He wouldn't even wait for the food to show up and left her with the check on top of that.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, she's not going to do what I want her to do. Or maybe he got the information at that time that she
was pregnant, you think?
Who knows if she decided to share that. But she could have said, I'm dating someone else. Not going to be able to, see you like that anymore. We tried to work it out, but no, we can work it out. Why you going to do that? Blah, 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 blah. It could have been that type of conversation. And if she did mention the pregnancy, oh boy, that really did it for him then. Oh, somebody else touched you and I can't have you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen this. There was a big story at the time, I remember, where a woman was engaged. She was actually kind of out, celebrating sort of a little like low-key saying no kind of thing. So her fiance was there at the time, as were family members and stuff. And a guy came to hit on this chick, and she said, "I'm sorry, I'm engaged." And he killed her. Some random who hit on her, and it was just like, the fact that she said no. And then I remember there was conversations in the space, and people saying, "Well, yeah, but guys are getting tired of mercilessly being disrespected by these women, turned down, it's constant rejection and whatever." And it was like, yeah, but this story, guys, this story, she was with the family. She was very polite about it, apparently. And he left the bar and waited around the corner for the family to finish up, and they all walked out together. She walked out with her fiance.
You can't just talk to men in fear of being murdered. Be like, oh, I better talk to him before he kills me. It's like, that's not going to work. What kind of relationship are you going to have? That is not going to work. Right. It's like, you can't keep blaming the women because they said, no, thank you. I'll buy my own bottle of wine. Okay, well, I'm going to bite your eye out. What?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's like, you know what? You have to be able to accept a no or a rejection. That's just life. We cannot be saying, okay, well, I'm going to say yes so I don't get murdered. That right. Is that what it's boiling down to? That's really what it's coming down to. Now women have to date men that they don't want to for fear that they might be murdered.
Yes. And the sad part about it is, and guys, again, I've heard this discussion, it was a couple of years ago, we were talking about it more in the space, but where women were saying, they were saying next to all kinds of things they did not mean at the time, even including sexual acts. They didn't mean it, but they didn't want to say no because they're so scared of saying no because they're of the repercussion. They saw the look in his eyes or maybe some things he had said, and it's like, they are so scared of the conflict and what that can lead to. And it's just easier. It's just easier to say, yeah, I'll go on a date with you, message me, and then ghost. And hopefully never go back to the car again, and hopefully never bump into that guy again and stuff like that. And that's why, and on one side, it's like rejection is almost becoming crueler or colder. And why resting bitch face is more of a regularity, because that's why it really exists. women are so scared of being approached and having, a bad outcome from them even trying to gently turn people down. Like, you know what? If I just keep people away with this, horrible demeanor, so you don't even approach me, then I don't have to say no, and then there's no risk. There's no risk involved there, right? You just didn't approach me, so then I didn't reject you, really. Right? And it's like
it's a protective mechanism, and some women do have that,
Right.
As a young girl growing up, I developed that because if you make eye contact or if you talk, then you're as good as, sucked up right then and there. You better keep it moving, look like you're in a rush, and I'm not going to talk to her because she's in a rush, or, oh, she doesn't look like she's in a good mood, so I won't say anything to her. But if you're just all nice and happy, oh, good morning, how are you doing? Great, I'm doing fine. Then they think they got a girlfriend, and before you know it, it's like it's hell.
Yeah.
It's hell. You can't grace every single man who shows you attention with your time. That does not make any sense. Just because he finds you attractive, now you owe him some time, because if you say no, you're going to be murdered. It doesn't make any sense. You should be able to decline, a request and keep it moving. I would prefer not to even get the request.
I know that's right.
The minute you say no, we already know people just don't like rejection. So it's like, it's hard out there.
Right. And of course, the social expectations. I mean, we've talked about this before, where it's like, why can't you give the guy a smile? Well, why should I have to? Right? I don't want
to. I don't even know him. Why do I even owe him that?
Right. You don't know. It's not even about being rude. I might be having the worst day of my life. I might just find out someone just died. It's literally happened to me. And people are sitting there, and there's a social expectation that as a woman, right, if a guy deigns to grace you with a hello or any type of whatever, you're supposed to smile at him and make him happy that he said hello to you. But I didn't ask for your attention. I don't know you, bro, or I might know you. I didn't ask for your attention. So, why do I have to give you that social nicety? Why do I have to smile at you? Otherwise, I'm the bad one. Like, as though my problems or my pain or my issues just don't matter. I should turn them off to make the guys comfortable. And guys, I don't think they see it that way necessarily, because they don't get hit on all the time. So they don't understand, like, people are expecting you to pause your day sometimes maybe 20, 30 times in that day. Shut off all your problems, all your issues, all your reality, and smile at him and make sure you give him the full attention and make sure you this and make sure, no matter what your problems are, right? Because he deserves it. And who cares how that affects your day, right? Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Okay, so I would like to take note of David's comments. He's like, so no one owes anyone anything then, okay? It sounds like then men should just wait for women to approach them. In that instance, David, do whatever you feel is necessary for you. My thing is that, I've always been taught that, you may get 100 no's before you get the first yes. So if you don't like to be told no, then don't try. That's really what it boils down to. If you don't want to be told no, then don't try, which I think is silly. But not every woman who's walking down the street that you're attracted to is available or is going to be attracted to you. We have to know that in today's society, not everybody is gonna, want to marry you and have your babies that you meet just because you think she's the greatest. Plenty of women will look at a man and be like, oh my God, I think he's just wonderful. And the guy is not interested. I mean, women get turned down. So you do what you feel is necessary for you. If you don't want to approach because you don't want to be told no, then don't approach. Well, and just wait for a woman to approach you if that's what works best for you.
No, David, it is silly. And here's why it's silly. Because the problem actually boils down to you as an individual problem. So here's a couple of reasons why it's your individual problem. Number one, right? Because maybe the problem is that the foot you're putting forward, as in your first impression, is not the best that it could be. So you aren't giving off the kind of impression that you want that is going to make people more likely to give you a favorable response, or at least give you the time of day, or at least give you a moment of attention, right? And it doesn't matter about your genetic, this and that, and whatever, right? Because we all can make ourselves the best possible version of ourselves with the best possible presentation or not, right? And a lot of people feel like, well, I shouldn't have to put in that effort. Okay, well, then you're going to get the no effort, outcome. Or you put in an effort, you get an effort outcome. So that's the first thing about, maybe changing that. But then there's a second thing. And maybe what you need to do is take a course, not through YouTube gurus, but like a real one, and learn a little bit of something about body language and social cues. Because some people honestly just aren't really good with things like body language, social cues, micro expressions and stuff. Didn't come naturally to them. They're not picking up naturally on them. And so as a result, they're not getting the same cues the average guy is who's not having these problems. Maybe you're just not reading the same cues that everyone else is. So therefore, you can't tell the difference between a chick who glanced at you because you just happened to be in the way of her looking at something else, and a chick who looked at you because she went, ooh, he's kind of cute. And maybe you honestly can't tell the difference, or you can't tell the difference in the body language cue she's giving you that tells you she might be interested. It might be worth it for you to speak to her. So, I think that's part of the issue too, is that the guys who really are just very confused and always are, striking out, it's because they don't know who to approach, when to approach them, or whatever. They're just literally like, well, she's pretty, so I can't read her emotions. Guys are very bad at reading women's emotions on their faces. I don't know body language well. I don't know social cues well. Well, I might as well just try. And meanwhile, no other guy would ever hit on this woman because they can see she's having the worst day possible. She's shooting fury out of her eyes, and anyone because there's getting cut down today. But you don't know how to read those cues. So maybe you just need a little bit, of coaching.
And then
on
also,
that.
David, there's plenty that women need to take into account. They need to be very careful on what type of attention they accept from a man, a strange man. So those are things that, women, are the weaker, vessel in most cases. Men, traditionally are stronger. So women can't just go around, being gracious and open to every single man that smiles in her face. That's dangerous. So yeah, women have to take a lot into account. They have to be very aware of their surroundings. They have to be careful of who they give their number out to. If they do, they have to be careful of, if there's danger, lurking out somewhere, if something's, someone's following them, the time of day, if it's evening, there's a lot of things to be taken into account. So if you're getting off the, 10 o'clock train and a man is like, hey, how are you doing? Ain't no woman going to want to stand there and talk to him at that time of night. And, she's trying to, get home, talking to some strange man. So there's a time and a place, for, most things, for everything, So yeah, there's a lot of things that women have to take into account. Each of the human beings involved have to take into account a lot of things. But the thing that we're talking about now is men taking into account that you're going to be told no if you approach women. And that's just the bottom line of it. And you should be okay with that. Just move on. It's not anything to go and shoot the woman about just because she said no. It's not that serious.
It's also not something to hide from. Like, David, you're saying that the social cues are silly. But that's the thing. Nobody is like inherently born. We're inherently born with certain kind of cues to kind of keep us, alive and safe as babies, right? Creep factor, so on and so forth. But then, people who are on the spectrum, for example, the autism spectrum, don't have those same cues, right? But the thing is, you can learn them, right? And so if you're not willing to learn things that you need to be successful, not just in dating, but in business and in basically all factors of life, if you're not willing to go and put the extra effort in to get yourself caught up with these social cues that are going to help you be more successful in all facets of life, then whose fault is that? Is that women's fault for not basically being men? And not being the hunters who want to stalk their prey, because that's what men are, right? Women are going to look at you from underneath hooded lashes and give you the smile and hope to God you find them attractive enough to come over. That's how women are, right? Generally. And men want to pursue their prey. They don't want something that just wanders into their, their hands super easily, or just lies there dying, waiting for them to get picked up off their head. They want to have to hunt it and catch it. So therefore, women like to be pursued and men like to pursue, right? And that's just the natural order of things. And I understand, like, it's like it doesn't come naturally to you. Cool, but you can put in that extra effort to learn it, and then practice it after you've learned it, so that way it comes a little more naturally to you. Trust me, I'm very socially awkward. Very, very socially awkward. And after almost everything I say, sometimes after these streams, I go over things I said 1,000 times in my head, and I'm like, I wonder if Char's mad at me because I spoke after she started speaking and I basically cut her off, and I wonder if Vonda hates me. I swear to God, I do things like that because I'm very socially awkward and I don't necessarily understand the same social rules and social cues that everyone else does. I really don't. And sometimes I find it really overwhelming, right? But it's like, you got to put in the extra effort. Just sitting there and blaming everyone else. Well, Vonda should have said, and Char should more clearly say, hey, Ruby, I think you did okay. And it was okay you cut me off. I wasn't offended by it, right? Otherwise, they're at fault. Like, no, that's ridiculous, right? I have to get better at reading social situations. They don't have to get better at responding to my abnormal inability to read social situations. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing with this dating stuff.
And David, I used the example for work. It's only because you were saying after, so many approaches, just stop. But no, you don't stop. You continue. I mean, I don't think it'll be many, many years before you get a yes, but it could take some time. You just don't stop. Please don't stop, because that may not turn out too well for you. Because if you desire a relationship, you should seek that. Many even and I keep going back to the work part. Because it takes a while sometimes for a business. You open a business, it don't work out. Open a business, don't work out. Same with I don't know, testing. Maybe there's some type of, you want to be a real estate agent or an attorney. Those tests are really hard. And some people are just not good test takers. It has nothing to do with the rest of the stuff. It's just the way the tests are set up. And that's how I am. I don't like tests because, to me, I find them, and I use the word silly. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jack had 2 apples. Jill had 1. She took 1 bite, which was a third. He fell down half the hill, and he lost a fourth of his apple, but he took 2 more bites. I don't want to know all that. You make it simple. He lost a whole apple. She still got hers. Oh, 2 apples left. Gotcha. But they do that to you. You get you all mixed up. You're like, okay, 2 bites, a third, and a fourth. You be trying to figure that out. But I just use that example. That's just something that I definitely know. Now, let's turn it around for women. Hey, there's a lot of guys say, hey, girl, what's going on? And just think about a lot of the ones that you say okay to, and you go out with them a few times and like, oh, no, this guy this guy that. So sometimes you can go through them. Some people just stick around like, well, he's something to do. Well, I don't know when someone else is going to say something, so I'll just stick with him. But, you just have to keep trying. That's what I say. You have a chance if you try. You lose if you don't.
Yep.
How about
You're
that?
guaranteed. Guaranteed you're going to lose, be a failure, buy a dog, die alone, as Kevin said, right? But that's really what it is. If you don't try, right? You don't. Now, I'm not suggesting, you said it earlier, I'm not suggesting that it's one woman, right? So you go to Wanda and Wanda turns you down. Well, you should keep hitting on Wanda every day of the week till she says yes. No, if Wanda turned you down, Wanda turned you down. Move on to Chandra and then Jean, and then Louise, and then random chick number 5 you don't know in the mall, right? But you got to go somewhere first to learn how to read basic cues that are saying, hey, she's open. Maybe she's actually available. She doesn't have a ring on her finger. She's giving off the vibes of, yeah, I don't mind talking to people today. You know, you got to learn that.
Right.
Kevin said, and 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 Kevin.
Shut up.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I don't know, man. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, David, and this is something I'm guessing you're young, because this is something that people have to learn over time with wisdom and experience, right? Is that no matter how much you want to like live in denial and be stubborn and pig-headed about things and whatever, human beings are human beings, humanity is humanity, and things are not like the whole course of humanity is not going to bend to make life easier or more understandable for you or whatever it is. And it comes down to that if you don't know how to filter out some of these people you're approaching to, right? Because you're always approaching people who are literally not available, either emotionally, mentally, or literally they are in a relationship, they got a ring on their finger and you're just not observant and you don't want to learn how to read those cues so that way you're approaching people who are at least emotionally, mentally, and relationship-wise available, right? If you don't even want to learn anything, you don't want to do any work on you, then what you've done is you've decided, you've given up. And that's fine. You can give up, but just don't blame it on anyone but yourself. Like, understand that at the end of the day, like, you have decided that you have given up and you could easily make this better and easier for yourself. You could easily change your circumstances, but you're just choosing not to. Just understand that much.
There's a lot of women in the world. I mean, a lot of them. You work with them, you go to school with them, you grocery shop with them.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes. So you can continue to try. I promise you. I Googled another story here that I have on the screen, and this is in Chicago. I'm like, wow, this happened March 7th. So not long ago. I don't remember hearing it, but then again, I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to the news. But let me tell you what happened to this guy and his ex, because of course it's an ex. This is a 32-year-old man. He was charged for fatally shooting his ex-girlfriend last month and leaving her body inside the car she parked near her Albany Park home.
Wow.
On February 25th, Umar Yaba followed 42-year-old, oh Lord, A. Vargas home after she finished work at the Domino's Pizza restaurant where the two met. Prosecutors said during the initial court hearing Sunday, the couple had broken up a month earlier. Wow, just 1 month. Wow. Let's see. When Vargas parked her car, he approached and shot her once in the head. He then grabbed her phone, hopped into a van registered to his mother, and eventually drove to the home they shared in Edgewater Beach. Vargas' mother later alerted a person described only as a witness that her daughter hadn't returned to their home. Using a cell phone tracking app to find the last location where Vargas' phone pinged, the witness found her unresponsive inside her car. It was a 9mm shell casing found inside the vehicle. Scroll down, and his bail is set at $1 million. Mm, mm. An ex-girlfriend. It hadn't even, well, just 30 days. That's it. I don't get it. You didn't date long. You broke up. There was nothing else you can do. So that's why, I'm wondering, do these guys have someone to talk to? You know?
You can't say no to them. You can't break up with them.
Like, hey, man, my girl, she broke up. Oh, man, let's go out, man. You'll find another one. I really like Sharon, man. Sharon was cool. Well, you didn't know her that long now. Come on. But did you see that booty? Man, come on, let's go out. And, you have your friends to help you through your different situations. That's why I'm finding, and I've been looking through these stories, combing to get more information because I want to know, what is your occupation? Did you have friends? Did you have family? And it varies. There's not one
Right.
size fit all.
That's true. That is so true. The only thing, only common denominator is that she either said no or she said no. That's when she said no. So, it's like, you can't even get out of a bad relationship because you might be murdered. You can't say no. I'm married. You might be murdered. It's like, I think, these men, that there's some serious mental health issues, not being able to cope with stress. Because these men living in a world with other people who are also dealing with stress. So they're not the only ones that are dealing with stress. And, the other people that are dealing with stress are not running around shooting and killing people because they can't take it. These instances are happening so often, and it all boils down to the woman broke up, and wouldn't come back to him, or she said no from the onset and was attacked.
Mm-hmm. It's a bleak world right now. And we've talked about a lot of these incel dudes who were in, the white manosphere, the black manosphere, somewhere in there and whatever, who are going out and carrying out these vendettas and stuff. And the problem is, right, is that even like 6 years ago, it was a lot better. But, because there used to be a message of hope as well, right? So there was this message of pointing out that, the Asian no count woman and whatever, and what to avoid as men, right? And the fallacy of certain things and whatever. But then there was also a side of showing you the hope. And that side of showing men hope is gone. In fact, if anything, the majority of the manosphere spaces on both sides is about, killing all hope and intentionally warping people's minds into only seeing the most negative thing and selling in such a way where all these women are never going to want the average guy. All these women are never going to want you. All these women are never going to want, never going to respect, never going to trust, never going to this, never going to that. Right. And so it's like, they're so beaten out of this idea of hope. It's like, it's not even just their own rejection that they're taking on and internalizing. They're taking on the perceived complete rejection of every man that's just an average everyday good guy, right? Like they're taking that on and internalizing it, and it's like it becomes so bleak, and it becomes so hopeless. So then you finally get a girlfriend, you finally get one, but then at the same time, remember, there's no hope. So you don't really have hope that after that girlfriend you can find another one. So God forbid she leaves, because if she leaves or that relationship doesn't work out, right? Everything that you are kind of drowning yourself in, and a lot of this has to do with the algorithm. The algorithms and all these apps intentionally drown you in just this one perspective, so that way you stay on their app longer. But it's like, well, if I let her leave or whatever, well, then I'm never going to find anyone else. She's going to monkey branch upward. She'll never come back to me, and I'll never find anyone else. So I'm just an average guy. right? And then the bitterness and the this and the that. And again, all these apps are literally conditioned to just keep driving you. Remember, anything attached to Google, Android, right, can read your entire life story every time they are sending you search results and every time they're sending you ads, because Android and Google are the same company. And so in the terms of service, they tell you they're taking your data, they're taking your text messages, everything you've ever put on your phone, on your operating systems, in your text messages, in your emails, in your search results on Google, on any of these. It's all accumulated, and they start slowly funneling you right to something they know you're going to click on next. And so if you just had a bitter breakup and you're like, why did she leave me or whatever? Well, then they just start sending you this information, right? Of the most bitter of incel content that says, well, it's because the modern woman doesn't want a man. The modern woman doesn't da 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 da. The modern woman only wants the 1%ers. The modern woman, and so you don't qualify for a woman. You're never going to get a good woman. Never. You're never going to get love. It doesn't even exist. Never. And so these guys are walking around so beaten down already, right? And then from there, I feel like it's not that much of a leap to be like, well, they're just selling you this message of bleak, and you give it up, and now you're angry, and now you're bitter, and now you're like, well, what's the point? And now you start turning all of that sadness into anger. Well, it's not that hard to see why we're seeing an increase in this. It's just not, because it can get really toxic. It really can.
Yeah. And see, now you can participate with other people online and put messages and super chats and get your high fives. Yeah, man, get a highlight on the screen. Yeah, man, you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you got cosigns for the dysfunction, sadness, anger, and all other things. And it's really sad. It really is, because you spend a lot of time in the same place hearing the same thing. You know, it's time to listen to something else. Read whatever it is. I don't know. Read something. Talk to other people that are successful. Isn't that something that is taught? If you want to learn a craft, get you a mentor, someone that is have a business or is in that field. You know, instead of talking to, if you want relationship, why talk to divorced people? Or you can get some tips from that. You know what maybe not to do, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, you get what I'm saying.
Yep. Yep. You know what? Here's the thing. Like, because David said, people who want to kill are evil regardless. No, people who want to kill indiscriminately are evil, right? But the majority of people who've ever killed somebody are normally not killing indiscriminately. And like the cases we're talking about, I would not say, and including the ones you brought up about women and their children and them killing spouses and whatever. I'm like, you can look at the motivations and kind of see, well, did someone, off their spouse for $100,000 life insurance policy? Yeah, they're evil, right? They're evil.
Right.
They do this for gain. But when you're talking about people who are emotionally and mentally broken and desperate, right, and they're like in this fury and this haze, and you're not really talking about evil then. And that's why it becomes so scary, because we think, well, only, it's evil that leads us to do such terrible things, but it's actually not. And you can take a perfectly decent, perfectly kind, perfectly normal person and drive them to a lot of things they would never have done otherwise. Especially if you are kind of battering at them mentally, constantly and emotionally, constantly through 17 different apps and all of their search results on Google and everything, all these biased algorithms literally shaping your opinions, shaping how you feel about the world, shaping what you see. And then you go out into the world, and confirmation bias and other psychological things, the way our brains were built, will get us to only see what we already believe. So we're only going to notice the things that confirm the biases we already have, and we're going to dismiss every example that proves our bias is wrong. That is literally the way the human brain works. So it's like, you know, again, I'm not surprised by this guy because I see the climate of what's out there and what's being sold to us, and it's very toxic, very, very, very toxic. And it's almost like I was talking about this with women the other day, and it's like, well, that's what's being sold to women, though. These men can treat you however, and they can ruin your whole life, and they can cheat on you and have babies by 17 women while they're supposed to be with you, and they bring you home diseases, and they're all horrible, and there's no recourse for you as a woman who's just a loyal, dedicated, good woman to this man. There's no recourse. Well, but if you want to one up him, you gotta hurt him the way he hurt you, right? It's the same thing. It's the same toxic kind of messaging, you know what I mean? That's being sent, especially to, I will say, the under 35 crowd, right? Just being hammered at them. It's scary.
Yeah, and sometimes I can't remember. I was trying to see if I can recall where I read it, but sometimes men. Well, I'll just say this article. I think it was an article I read that it mentioned how sometimes the person, and it was a male, so I'm just going to say a male, can have in his mind he's going to create a future, which is he's going to get with this woman and he's going to get out of his current situation. So, like this guy on the screen, he was with his mother. Well, he could have, I really hate to really say this about him, but what I read was insinuating that sometimes a person can have in their mind that their situation can change with that other person. And if it doesn't go that way, it messes up their idea or plans and they feel some kind of way about it. A lot of people not six figures and want to get out their situation living with a parent, grandparent, or whoever they're living with. And if you can put his $5 along with the girlfriend $5, they can make it.
So David said, you know, what's so scary about it is maybe society should have treated people better. Maybe being told yes instead of no so many times would have made a difference. That, David, you know, unfortunately, is not the solution. Okay, I'm gonna give you a scenario of a toddler, 2-year-old wants candy. You tell the 2-year-old, no, you can't have the candy. The 2-year-old proceeds to throw an entire fit, a tantrum, because you told him no. So you should not reward the bad behavior. So in an effort not to get killed, or attacked, don't say no, say yes. Lead the man on. And then when you lead him on, then it's even worse. Not everybody is cut out to be with everybody. There's a certain thing called compatibility. Now, if you're out there and you're looking for that one special person in the world, that you want to spend the rest of your life with, you don't think that that's going to, be a bit of a task? You think that's going to be easy? That the first chick that you find attractive and you come up against and you approach her, that's it. That's all you had to do was just do it one time. And boy, you got the cream of the crop. You got the one lucky woman, that you're going to be with for the rest of your life. It doesn't work that way. That's just like, in Little League, my son played Little League and, he was all about winning. And when he didn't win, he didn't want to play no more because he didn't win. And it's like, you're not going to win every single game. Every single girl's not going to tell you yes. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But the point is to stay in the game. Unless you just want to give it up. Now, if you want to get out the game, that is your option. But you can't get mad at people because you're not playing the game. You can't be sitting on the bench, not in the game, and be mad at everybody else because you're like, well, if I was in the game, I probably wouldn't win anyway. So I'm just going to sit here and be mad. Right. That's going to create a whole nother set of issues, in my opinion. So I'm just saying, I mean, not everybody's going to tell you yes. And I would think that one that you want to spend the rest of your life with, she's not going to be easy to come by. Because if she was, everybody would be linked up with that one special person, and there wouldn't be multiple relationships going on.
And if I could add,
relationship, you know.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Ruby.
Okay, I just wanted to add this really quick because maybe we need to speak in terms you can understand. So let's talk about women, okay? And I'm talking about the failure of a woman. So this one woman, right? She is mad, she's angry, she's bitter, all men ain't ish. They're all users and abusers, and they're just lying to you so they can hit it and quit it, and so on and so forth, right? This woman, let's pretend that this woman right now, that's what she's saying. And when we listen to her life story, right, what we find out is that she has no problem being approached by men, obviously, right? And she's accepting the offers and whatever. But once they get to know her a little bit, they find out that she's very aggressive. She's disrespectful. She has toxic belief systems. She's low-key physically abusive even. She's weird. She's this, she's that. She's a lot of negative things. And she also has bad hygiene, okay? And so once they find that out, they bounce. They don't want to be with this girl. And even the ones who take pity on her and try to date her for a little while because she's got a decent personality otherwise, hoping they can maybe help her to basically change some of these negative things, right? And she doesn't change those negative things, right? Because the way she sees it is that if you can't love her at her worst, then you don't deserve her at her best anyway. And why are you trying to change her anyway? And she deserves to be loved and respected and appreciated exactly as she is. And so eventually those guys leave too, right? And now you come around. And so you thought she looked pretty sitting across the bar or whatever. And so you hit on her, right? And she accepts your offer, okay? And then once you go on a date or whatever, you find out all of these negative, toxic qualities about her, right? And it's slowly building. You think, I don't know, maybe I'm being sensitive. And plus, you haven't smashed in a good minute or whatever. So, okay, you go home with her, you think that you guys have a okay enough time and whatever. But then when you got to get up for work, she throws a fit and she starts telling you that you got a little wee and this and that. She's so all kinds of crazy and disrespectful just because you got to get up and go to work, right? So you don't call her again. Right now, here's the thing. Should she just give up on all men and say, no, the problem is all men? Or should she stop and say, wait a minute, maybe the problem is me. Maybe part of it is the men that I'm attracting. Maybe part of it is the men that I'm choosing, right? Maybe part of it, though, probably a much larger part has to do with things she needs to change. She needs to learn. She needs to grow. She needs to learn and understand what men want, what men see, what they like to see, what they don't like to see, how they like to be treated, how they don't like to be treated. She needs to learn how to pick up on those social cues from these men so she knows when to pull back or when to fall back on certain types of behaviors. She needs to learn how to control her anger and aggression. She needs to learn how to communicate, right? So there's a lot of growth and learning she could personally do as an individual that will change her outcomes. Or she can keep doing the same thing and keep getting run through and then discarded and then keep blaming it on men, right? Now, I'm sure when I put this in the terms of the woman, right, I'm sure you can see that, and it seems perfectly reasonable that this woman should probably work on herself, right? And it's not the fault of all men, right? It's not men or society's fault that as an individual, she's got work to do on herself, and she won't do that work. And she keeps blaming everybody else for not just being different so she doesn't have to do the work. I mean, because really, if you fall back now, and let's go back to you, that's literally the same thing you're doing. You're just doing it on the opposite side for men. It's like, no, sometimes you got work that you got to do as an individual to change your outcomes, to change the energy you put out and the energy that you actually attract in, the energy you notice, energy that's part of your microcosm. Like, sometimes you got to do the hard work. That's just what it is. And if you don't do the work, you can sit around, sit on your hands, and make excuses, blame everyone but yourself, believe all the convenient lies. But the fact is that everyone around you is being successful, it's because they're growing and they're learning and they're making those changes. They're doing the hard work on self to change their outcomes, so their outcomes do change. It's just what it is.
Okay. I was about to, I was going to address something, but when you said you, individual, and I'm like, oh, she caught it. Welcome to the panel, Prince of Pete.
Hey,
Well, hello there, Prince of Petty.
How is everybody doing? I feel the petty spirit, the spirit of ain't shitness was moving about in the chat room, and I had to descend
Okay.
from the clouds. You
Oh, oh, okay. That's what you
know,
do. All right.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Mhm.
see.
yeah, yeah.
um, I was, when me when I see photos, I start looking at things, start seeing things, and I zoomed in a little bit here on this guy here.
Hmm.
This man looks like he hasn't had a shower in about 2 weeks.
Since the breakup.
Yeah, like you can tell, right? Because the t-shirt underneath his sweatshirt that's gray is turning black. I mean, he ain't take that off in about a week,
Ew.
right? His
Oh.
hair is matted. He's got that 5 o'clock shadow, extra beard going. He looks incoherent. Probably was drinking some cheap liquor and maybe
Hmm.
taking some pills. Listening to Adele on repeat. Uh, Probably calling, blowing up the phone, texting, doing all of that. She's not replying. The breakup was very hard. You know what I'm saying? Um, and he stalked this woman. Probably approached her a couple of times, and she probably told him what for, and went about her business. And she probably moved on so quickly with her life, and he could not stand to see her happy without him. Right? She's stalking her Facebook, looking from the clouds, making troll accounts, looking at Instagram. Then he decides to follow her home from work and kablow. Now, this is dangerous
Hmm.
because can women do this? Yes, we see it. There's a trial going on right now with Johnny Depp. So women are capable of doing it, but it's not in a mass number because when men do it, it is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous when men get into this stupor of something like this. Now, as a man, I offer a solution. Now, since the ladies here are so forgiving, they don't want me to have you fight the bear and toss you in the volcano. So here's another solution.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of you are not going to have kids. Just what it is, and it's not the reason why you're not going to find companionship because of the choices of society. It's because the choices that you make. Some of y'all need a mean 5.5. If you play spades, that's five and a possible. Right? This you know what I'm saying? And your personality wise, you got to build up your confidence and find someone in your lane. That whole opposites attract shit is a lot of bullshit. Because you can't be in a relationship with someone for long periods of time if you ain't got sustainable things in common. You need things in common. You need to be able to be with a person that can tolerate you, not like you, tolerate you for a substantial amount of time. You need some friends, some friends. And you also have to keep your individuality. That means that when you get into a relationship with someone, you cannot, they cannot be the end all and be all, right? Because as quiet as it kept, women like attention, but they do not like being smothered.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't you shouldn't be standing by the toilet which comes out of it.
Oh my goodness, no.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, attention and smothering is a whole different can of worms. You need to try different things, try different people, go to different places. If I am having problems finding someone in the places that I normally go to, Go to different places, try different avenues, find different interests. Maybe go outside the norm. Maybe the thing that's been perpetuated, that's been put into your face of the what they say, the perpetual beauty. Maybe that's not really it for you. Maybe that doesn't work out for you. Maybe you were so enamored by this person's beauty that you freeze up. You know, women like a man with confidence.
Yes.
Confidence goes a long way. And what it means is it's not confidence in talking to them, but it means confidence in yourself that you're
Yourself.
able to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So learn how to talk to people. And matter of fact, most of the time, if you have friends, male friends specifically, and you talk to them, maybe getting around a group of men that do have some type of confidence about them, not dudes that just running through women and stuff like that, but dudes that are confident in sustainable relationships, functional, sustainable relationships, they may help you work on the things that you can't normally see through their actions, not all the things that they're saying. You can observe and not just try to emulate that, because then you're not being truthful who you are, but you can figure out something that you can do, and then maybe those men can introduce you to someone where they see where you may be compatible, and maybe you can learn on the way. You know, a lot of people are, and I hear it from this generation of men, younger generation, my generation, a little bit older than me, some way older than me. Y'all are remedial in life when it comes to dealing with females. Y'all have failed miserably. And listening to these dudes boohoo, cry, and trauma bond has pretty much emasculated your confidence to the level of nothingness.
It spoiled the milk.
That shit is goat cheese right now. It's horrible. It's just disgusting. And, you know, and people don't like hearing men cry. If something that will dry up a uterus is a man crying.
That is so true. I have an example of that.
Kevin said, and 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 Kevin. And what about Kevin? And Kevin doing good work. And Kevin, and Kevin, and Kevin, and Kevin, and Kevin, and Kevin.
Shut up.
I love that.
Kevin's doing the good work.
That's my favorite part too, Ruby. And Kevin's doing good work.
It's amazing.
Oh, I'm enjoying it.
Oh my God. But it's true though. You know, I think the thing is, right, and a lot of this is why I said earlier, I'm positive David is young. I was talking about this earlier on BMT's panel. I'm like, the older generations are failing to understand, for those who were born and raised after the advent of the World Wide Web and especially social media, they don't understand how radically different the whole worldview, social perception, social reality, and whatever is for the younger generations. And like they don't understand the impact of these things and how integrated they are and whatever, because for those of us who were born and either totally raised and started off adult life, or at least born and somewhat raised without the World Wide Web and, you know, social media, we had to learn socialization the way we evolved to learn socialization. And then what happened is, you know, this boom happened and now all these younger kids were being raised in this world and we were seeing crazy impacts and no one knew how to handle them because we've never seen this before. So they started making decisions, and these decisions were horrible. Like, for example, when they started breaking up friend groups in grade school, and now, you know, they would just keep switching you in different classes. You were never in a class with your friend group, you know, year upon year. And they wouldn't let you sit with the best friend, and you weren't allowed to call people best friend, and all kinds of stuff, right? So a lot of these younger people actually didn't learn proper socialization, unfortunately, that everybody wants a trophy, everything. So yeah, by the time they get to adulthood, they literally do not have a real grasp or understanding on actual reality. And, you know, in a lot of ways in life, you can kind of cheat not knowing the actual reality of, say, human interactions, and it's fine. But when it comes to dating and marriage and stuff, you can't cheat that, because you can't marry someone and only know them over the internet, right? Like, I mean, you can, but you can't, right? Like, eventually you're gonna live together in the same house. You're not gonna talk to each other. You're just gonna keep posting and live in different rooms, right? Like, you have to be in the same place. You have to know people, and so that it's a big problem. It's a really big problem, and this is why, to an extent, I don't blame like the people who are really struggling socially, and I don't even blame them for not being open, because, you know, there's so many fake gurus out there giving them convenient lies and convenient excuses so that way they can wallow in their misery, never have to change, and find a whole echo chamber that is just going to validate all of their excuses and lies. And so that way they can keep sitting on their hands, keep doing nothing, keep not changing at all, and keep filling the coffers and the pockets of all these people who are taking advantage of their pain and misery and loneliness, right? Because they don't want you to get a wife or a girlfriend and stop following them and stop paying all of their bills, right? So they would rather you be miserable and alone. That's what it is. They're not even trying to help you. They're not. That's why I say don't go to the gurus. You gotta go to a real human being who works one-on-one with people to help coach people and teach them stuff that maybe they missed in development. That's what it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying.
Yeah. Where do you go on your downtime? What are your interests? There's a lot of places to go. I know it's still considered the pandemic, but they've opened up a lot of places now because they need that finance. So they like it, take your own risk. So there's a lot of things out there. So what are
Now,
your interests?
I think it's very, very cliche to say this, but it's very, very true. It's like the more you're out there looking and wanting to find somebody, the less likely you are to find that person. Um, like Shar was just saying, you know, what are your interests? What are you interested in? Sometimes you can pick up a hobby or pick up an interest, and you would be surprised at the people that you meet when you're just focusing on yourself. The things that you'll come across. If you're always out there, you know, I'm looking for her, you know, oops, I see someone over there that looks like Beyonce. Let me go and ask her out on a date. I go talk to her. She says no. Oh gosh, I'm crushed. You know, you go look and find another woman that looks just like Beyonce. You're like, oh my God, you know, there's Beyonce. You know, I want to date her. And you go and you approach her. She goes, no. You know, like Dre did mention, you know, how about you look within your range? What are you approaching? You know, are you approaching a vast, you know, variety of different type of women, or are you looking for a certain type of woman, and that is the woman that you're getting the nose from, or are you just getting nose across the board? Now, if you're getting nose across the board from everybody, then dude, it's time to look in the mirror, you know, and maybe look at yourself and say, you know, hey, you know, the common denominator is me, you know. But like I say, you know, stop looking. You know, you're more likely to find something, you know, that you're not looking for. You know, the more you're focused on it, the less likely you are to find it. If you're just out there doing your everyday thing, or if you take up a hobby and you're so into the hobby, you might come across someone who has that same interest. What are your interests? What do you like to do? What makes you happy besides, you know, looking for, you know, a woman and then getting turned down by every single Beyonce that you choose? You know, maybe stop looking for the Beyonces, you know, because not, you know, not everybody's, you know, gonna be with a Beyonce, you know. There might be, you know, you might get the other girl. I'm not going to even mention any other woman's name, but I'm just saying, you know, because Beyonce is a very beautiful woman. You know, we're not going to even like debate that. She's a very beautiful woman. Maybe stop looking for Beyonce, you know, and look for, you know, Anna, you know, you know, regular Nancy. you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
stop looking for Beyonce, you
Get you a
know.
mean Kelly.
Right.
You
Get you a
know,
mean Kelly. Get you a Michelle. Maturity. You know what I'm saying? Get
I've
you some
seen it
integrity.
happen where you just interested in whatever you're interested in. Let's say fencing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're gonna maybe find more men in fencing, but you can get a friend. So now you met Bob. Okay, so you and Bob eventually hang out, and then Bob got a sister, or Bob knows about he has something else, a social life somewhere doing something. He invites you, and you go to that place, and there's other people. Let's say you meet Michelle there, and even if you don't meet Michelle, you meet Jim, because Jim has interest in, I don't know, karate, and you like those two things. So now you got two male friends that eventually, some kind of way, is going to extend where the female is going to come into play. But you're still doing whatever it is that you're interested in. You're
Right.
gaining some male friends. And
Mm-hmm.
when Michelle comes along, you can ask them, hey, man, Michelle, I met her and everything. She's going to go out, but I'm a little nervous. Now you have somebody to talk to about the woman that you met. So
Mm-hmm.
look at it that way.
Yep. I mean, most people who've really been so unsuccessful, they've never had, a significant other, they barely ever had a date or whatever, are normally people who are also failing socially in general, right? They tend to have not great success with friendships and other types of relationships either. And they tend not to be able to be great in even like the work industry from a social perspective, right? So they tend to be failing at social skills. And this is why I said earlier, like the best thing you can do is try to develop your social skills. And engaging in a hobby, signing up for something. Man, I don't know, if you want to, break out of your shell, maybe you sign up for a local play. Even if you're just signing up to be someone who builds sets and stuff because you don't act, or maybe it's signing up to do some spoken word if you like that, or pottery, or painting people, or whatever it is. There's actually a lot of things you can sign up for that don't even cost a lot of money. I mean, damn, you could sign up to walk around the mall in the morning sometime. Well, I don't know if you could do that now because of Rona, but I mean, there's so many things you can sign up to do in groups of people, classes, maybe exercise, whatever it is, that you can sign up and just kind of, instead of only speaking to women, again, who you find ridiculously hot, and that's all you're really basing your choices on, because again, your social skills are so lowered, and also your identity and your sense of self, as far as like, what else do you need besides her to be hot? Like, for real, what do you actually need? But you don't really know. And it's like, you got to go out there and live life and experience life. I said the same thing to a young woman who comes in here a lot, Celine. I said the same thing to her. You got to go out there and live life and experience life. Like, forget finding a husband for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is like your self? What do you know about yourself if you want a husband? What kind of husband do you want? What kind of wife are you going to be? Like, what kind of interests do you have? What kind of interests work for you in a partner? What doesn't? Like, a lot of people, and I know this is in my generation, right? They were sold this bill of goods that basically said, oh, it doesn't matter if you're a super loser in high school and you have no friends in high school, it's cool, because, you just go through, college, and then you get your diploma, and then you just wave that piece of paper and the women will come running, right? And that's not how it works. And the women didn't come running, and they got the degrees, and they were really upset and kind of deflated by that. It was like, well, no, you're supposed to go to college and then socialize, right? Get to know people and have fun and break out of your shell and figure out what kind of people are you, what kind of people you get along with, and da da da. And from you doing that, you would just bump into people. You would just bump into women and men who, you're like, ooh, this kind of a spark here, I think. And you would just mutually kind of agree. And it wouldn't be this pressure of having a cold approach and da 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 da, because you kind of already have like a social understanding of each other, because in the same place, and some certain people, and that's already an icebreaker. And it's like they just missed out on that. So you can manufacture that. You can manufacture that at any time in your life. Just go out there and start doing stuff that's not the internet by yourself, because that doesn't help you meet people. I'm just saying, it doesn't, and it definitely doesn't help you understand yourself. Definitely doesn't.
Yeah. I'm like, you stop going to the club and breaking down quadratic equations. That's not going to work. Like, you need to go in the math club and talk to those women and those people. Like, I like to say this, that the Revenge of the Nerds and Weird Science is a lie. There's not going to be, you're not going to get the bombshell at the end of an episode or something. Like, shit, look at Family Matters. Like, Urkel didn't get lured to the end, but that's because the chick that was Myra, she went on to be on All My Children or whatever thing she was on. But his girlfriend or his love interest was Myra, was just as smart as he was. In the same vein, you probably got a girl, a woman that's interested in you right now, but you don't see it because, like Vonda said, you keep looking at Beyonce. And maybe the laws of the universe is telling you that this particular version of the woman of your dreams is actually not for you. How many times the environment's going to tell you you don't belong there? You need to go somewhere else. You need to deal with women at your level. You need to learn yourself. You need to get engulfed with yourself. And if any man worth his salt is going to tell you anything worth anything, majority of men get with women when they are in their own purpose or not even really thinking about it and not putting that pressure. Because women can feel that shit. They can
Yes.
feel when you're
Yes.
hunting them. They can feel it. And if a
Preach.
woman,
Sir Patty, preach.
they can feel you sitting. It's been 6 months since I had some. Oh, they can feel it. They can feel the desperation. They can feel you slaughtering at the mouth. There's a difference between a man showing interest in a woman and kind of doing this give and go and play in this dance, and this all out hungry, starving predator thing that you give
Ugh.
off. And even if you try to code it with some niceness, like being, that's even more creepy because they think they're going to end up in the back of a trunk somewhere, duct tape, what I'm saying, and pieces of their body littered around the Florida Everglades.
Preach.
So they know what it is. They're not playing when they understand it because their radar goes off. And because society is different, because and they have to be more on guard and kind of they really pretty much got to take care of themselves now because society has changed. There aren't a lot of men around to filter a lot of that through. So they have to really be attentive to that. So what you have to do, and this is just advice. I'm married, I'm good, so you ain't got to take it. I don't really care, but this is just advice. One, stop listening to people that's failures for success. They can only tell you what they failed at. You can listen to them, but you need to find some people that's successful to have those conversations. Two, I can't give you the 100% blueprint because I'm not you and your personality is different. The only thing I can do is give you guidelines to the path. The third thing of that is let that shit go. You're not going to be in a functional relationship if you have past traumas that you didn't work the fuck out. Go talk to someone professionally. Stop talking to these niggas on YouTube that just going to enable the ability for you not to take accountability. Get out of the fuck 'em girl dress streams and go somewhere where you have to work on yourself and take self accountability of your mistakes. Because if you do it once, maybe it's not your fault, maybe, but if you keep doing it, it's your fault. Do that and take your ass outside. Take your ass outside. That's all.
He has spoken.
Yeah. I love you brought up the desperation part because that's something that I think maybe men understand that they don't like feeling the desperation from a woman, but they think that maybe it's different the opposite way, and it's not, right? Like it's like it's very not only does it give an automatic, like your first automatic reaction as a woman is no. Like your brain is not even gonna try to process the person. You read the desperation first, and it gives you kind of like the creeps or the heebie-jeebies. Like, I don't want to deal with someone who's desperate, right? Because desperate people do desperate things. It could, what if, like, it's like you're thinking into the future, like, no, I don't. I want to deal with someone who's desperate and thirsty and whatever. And besides, what the hell is wrong with him that he has to be desperate, right? Why does no one else want him? So you don't want to give off that vibe. Right. But of course, you're going to give off that vibe if you're like attention starved and your socialization starved and, you literally have like this thought going in. Of course, she's going to shoot me down. Everyone shoots me down. Nobody wants me. Right. And, like you're going to radiate that vibe. If that's what you think about yourself and about the situation, that's what she's going to pick up from you about it. And then she's going to believe you. So she's going to believe that, you know what, nobody wants you and there's something wrong with you. And of course, she should shoot you down because that's the attitude. That's the level of confidence you came in with, right? It's like, don't try to put on false confidence because that often just comes off as like arrogance and you being a douche. And yeah, you're not going to get a different outcome, right? That's why like you got to pause and do the actual hard work on yourself. And that's why they call it hard work because it's self-work. On you only, focusing on you only, on, fixing your stuff, healing your stuff, growing in a bunch of different ways, learning yourself in a bunch of different ways, self-actualizing, all those things. And that takes time and dedication and hard work. And, you got to throw away your excuses. And that's like a really hard thing to do for people, is to throw away all those excuses they've been relying on that allows them to sit comfortably in their own misery, right? And blame everyone else for their problems. Like, I think at some point, a lot of people get stuck in that. I certainly was at one point in my life. I blamed everyone but me, right? And my drinking. Definitely didn't blame drinking. Alcohol was my best friend. So it couldn't possibly have been the problem, right? Everyone and everything else was the problem. The alcohol was just the solution to dealing with all those other problems. It wasn't working the other way around at all. Right. And it's like people go, yeah, but I'm not a drunk, or I'm not a drug, I'm not an addict. Well, you kind of are, right? You're addicted to your victimhood, or you're addicted to your misery, or you're addicted to your victim status. Like you're addicted to something. You're addicted to the social media and the feel goods you get from being on social media and having this group around you agree with in your little echo chamber, right? Like we all get addicted to stuff in one way or another. And it's like sometimes you just got to work really hard, break those bonds, and start focusing on you.
So true. Well, I'm going to get a list together. I'm going to speak with Ronan and DS1, and we're going to get a list together that I mentioned the previous week so we can have it posted for those men that needs help, need someone to talk to. And I'm thinking now, maybe we'll have the audience participation to come up with a list of things to do, places to go. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll
Church.
be cool.
Church. There's nothing but women in church. Nothing but women.
All right. Well, we got the first thing on the list.
That is a place.
You know what I mean? Pastor can't have sex with all of them. There's some leftovers. They gotta be. Jesus. When we show up on communion, everybody lit. Church.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna write that one down. Yeah,
we
but I think that
no
would be
women in the
library. Well, shoot, now we have smart devices. We don't even have to physically go in the library anymore. So kind of spoiled there.
But that's the problem. Everybody using that device. No, get your ass outside. Listen, I don't give a damn if it's the year 4052. Right? Actually, it should be easier now because everybody using these devices and texting. If you walk up to somebody, don't be on some old, hey, how are you doing? What? Huh? What? like that little shot is like a way in to have a conversation with somebody, but you got to do it in the right time. You can't be hollering at people on the corner when they're on the way to go to where they're going. You got to go to a place where it's conducive to talking. When women are there for a purpose to meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
And bring a friend, bring a wingman, bring someone that's more proficient and confident in speaking than you. If you got a problem with communicating, bring someone that can talk, that can communicate and help you out. Men always, I don't understand what y'all don't understand. Men have always dated in packs. Like it's a thing. Like we do that. Like we have two homeboys. We have the homeboy that get the women, that know how to talk, but better than the rest of the group. We have the funny guy, we have the quiet guy, and then we have the fourth homeboy that always takes the L for the team willingly. That guy. But either way, men always do that. Women do the same thing. It's just a defense thing. They just, it's this game is not going away no time soon. It happens. It's the mating ritual. Just outside. Get your friends. Get you some friends. And a woman is not going to deal with you if you ain't got no male friends. Because that's weird. Functional male friends. Remember, functional. Because you can have friends that are males and they weird too. You hanging around a bunch of weird people, I'm sorry. You just signed yourself up for the dry dick club.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Oh, no.
That's what they say. Tends to be mostly true. If you don't have a flock at all, that means your flock, they outcasted you. They banished you. They sent you out into the wild on your own, which 10,000 years ago was basically like sentencing you to death. So you must have done something horrible that nobody wants you. No tribe will take you, right? Your tribe rejected you, so you definitely don't want that. But I get it though. People are having a harder and harder time. Like I said, there are literally places you can go to learn social skills. Literally, you can. It's not even that expensive. They have groups that meet online and teach you one thing at a time and stuff like that. I mean, like ones that are run by registered psychotherapists, right? And registered counselors and stuff like that. Not random gurus who have self-appointed themselves as therapists, amateur ones, so no training or education, but like real ones. Yeah. Try that.
Right. Yeah. And I am for certain that Biden had put in a bill for some therapy. So I don't know how much is free, but I know it's either some sessions are free, so many, but it's in insurance. So definitely check your card, call that 1-800 number, find out what you can get. You never know, but you use it. Go ahead and use it. A lot of people don't take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it. It's if there are free sessions, take advantage of it. I mean, at the end of the day, it can't hurt, hopefully,
Yeah.
But
take your time. Look around. You can choose whatever you want. They even have the profile, male, female. If you are whatever you're dealing with, they have people for whatever it is. If you are thinking about what is the gender reassignment, they have them for that, whatever it is. So it's no excuses. You're going to find someone that can relate to you and you can speak with. So do that homework. Doesn't cost you anything. 1-800 number is toll free. So give them a call. You guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Check us out tomorrow for article reaction at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you know, we got them Kens and them Karens. So please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tune in. We'll look for you. We'll have the light on, and I'll play the commercial on the way out. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. But in case you don't, here it goes. And until we'll meet again, everyone, peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Peace out, family.
Hey folks, it's your nighttime, it's your right time DJ Music. Make sure you join Char Willie each and every Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central for Article Reaction, right here on your local YouTube channel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to Article Reaction.